are a number of guys who definitely should make sure that they are prepared.
The relationship between me and Deshaun, it will continue to grow and flourish. And I just admire him as a person.
People overlook that it actually takes a serious level of commitment to a team to be a backup, because we are confident that they're going to end up starting games in 2024 for one reason or another. Mike White, Miami Dolphins. Mike White might be the backup on paper, but anyone who watched the Miami Dolphins last season knows that Tua Tagovailoa's injury history makes White one of the most likely backups to see significant playing time in 2024. You know, assuming that he's able to beat out Skylar Thompson for QB2 duties, which most folks in and around the Dolphins organization expect him to do. But in any case, yes, there are times when Tagovailoa has looked stellar, but his multiple concussions and ailing body have raised serious concerns about his long-term durability. White has not just proven himself to be a capable quarterback, but also a guy who really has shown some flashes of brilliance. During his time at the New York Jets, White showed that he has the arm talent and the moxie to step in when things go wrong with the starter, whether it's due to injury or just performance. And if he gets slotted into Miami's high-octane offense when Tagovailoa inevitably misses time, well, he may end up turning some heads. Given the way that things have gone for Tua health-wise, don't be surprised if White finds himself starting more than a few games this season. Jimmy Garoppolo, Los Angeles Rams. The rise and fall of Jimmy Garoppolo as a starting face of the franchise kind of quarterback has been a spectacle to behold. He parlayed a Deflategate-induced starting stint in New England into being anointed as the guy for the San Francisco 49ers. But once it was clear that the team had gone as far as they could with him at the helm, he was jettisoned out of town. Garoppolo, however, still had enough friends in the industry, and Josh McDaniels scooped him up off the scrap heap and handed him the starting gig with the Las Vegas Raiders. The rekindling of that partnership did not bode well for either Garoppolo or McDaniels, as both were chased out of Sin City in prompt fashion. Garoppolo now finds himself in Los Angeles, finally as a backup. And here's the thing, Matthew Stafford's health is a big question mark. He's been battling a series of injuries over the past couple of seasons, including a lingering elbow issue that limited his effectiveness at times last year. And with Stafford's durability in question, it wouldn't be shocking to see Garoppolo take the reins in LA, even if it is just for a few games. And who knows, maybe the team gets hot behind him and we see him start for an extended period of time. Jimmy G may not be the flashiest quarterback, but he has proven that he can manage a game and keep a team in contention, which might be exactly what the Rams need if Stafford can't stay on the field. Sam Howell, Seattle Seahawks. Sam Howell's path to potentially starting in Seattle is an interesting one. After being drafted by Washington, Howell was quickly named the starting quarterback of a team that was very much in flux, by a head coach in Ron Rivera that was very much a lame duck. Howell showed some serious potential early on, but seemed to really struggle to keep his level as the season went on, in large part due to injury and, well, likely because he was trying to steer the rudderless ship that is the Washington Commanders. Well, in any case, he's now found himself in a backup role with the Seahawks behind the aging Geno Smith. Smith, who despite a recent career resurgence last season, is still 34 years old and not exactly a franchise quarterback. Plus, there are some serious questions about how long he can keep that level of play up. Howell, on the other hand, is young and brimming with potential. If Smith ends up regressing in his first season without Pete Carroll as his head coach in Seattle, or has the misfortune of suffering an injury, Howell could be the next man up. And considering that the Seahawks are very much heading into a rebuilding phase post-Carroll era, and their investment to date in young talent, Howell starting games in 2024 is definitely on the table. Joe Flacco, Indianapolis Colts. Joe Flacco, it feels like, has had several different careers jumbled up into his NFL tenure. He started off as a high-upside gunslinger who people were entertained by, but had their doubts about. Then he pulled off that ridiculous Super Bowl run and became known for his clutch antics. It's been a little bit up and down ever since, but he is still hanging around and is very firmly in his journeyman era, and is just sort of enjoying the twilight years of his career. After a very impressive turnaround with the Browns during Deshaun Watson's absence last year, not to mention a bevy of other quarterback injuries, he has landed in Indianapolis, where he could see the field as a high-profile backup once again. The Colts have been searching for stability at quarterback, and while they've put their hopes in a talented second-year guy in Anthony Richardson, Flacco's experience could come into play if things go south. After all, the Colts are a team with playoff aspirations, and if Richardson struggles, Flacco's veteran presence might be what they need to actually steady that ship. So, don't be shocked if the former Super Bowl MVP ends up under center in Indy at some point this season, especially when you factor in just how injury-prone Richardson proved to be during his rookie campaign. Jameis Winston, Cleveland Browns. Crazy to say, considering he is a former #1 overall pick, is beloved by his teammates seemingly everywhere he goes, and threw for 5,000 yards in a season not too long ago, but Jameis Winston is viewed as a backup quarterback by NFL execs. A very talented, high-upside backup, but a backup nonetheless. That said, he is one of those quarterbacks who's always just one play away from getting back into that starting lineup. Now at the Cleveland Browns, Winston is backing up Deshaun Watson, who has been inconsistent and injury-prone since joining the team. Winston's gunslinger mentality obviously has its drawbacks, but he is also capable of putting up big numbers in a hurry. If Watson struggles or goes down, the Browns could turn to Watson to try and salvage their season. Given the uncertainty and, frankly, negative sentiment surrounding Watson, I wouldn't be surprised to see Winston starting games this year. Tyrod Taylor, New York Jets. Tyrod Taylor has been the ultimate bad break guy throughout his career. Whether it was turning the Bills from perennial cellar dwellers into a playoff contending team, then promptly getting chased out of town by the fans and ultimately replaced by Josh Allen, or getting picked up by Cleveland where he ended up playing in front of Baker Mayfield, the #1 overall pick in the draft, and an injury forced him out of play and ended his time as the starter there, or heck, the horrible malpractice injury that he suffered when he got the chance to start for the Chargers only to lose his job to Justin Herbert. I think it's safe to say that few guys out there have suffered the misfortune to their career trajectory like T-Mobile. But after a couple of good starts last year for the Giants, which of course were derailed by injury, he is now with the New York Jets backing up Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is obviously still elite when he's healthy, but he's also 40 years old and has had his fair share of injuries in recent years. Taylor is a proven veteran who has started and won games in the league, and if Rodgers goes down, Taylor could find himself leading the Jets offense. Given Rodgers' age and the physical toll of playing quarterback, and the high expectations for the team, which could result in a few non-essential games down the stretch of the season, Taylor starting games for the Jets at some point is not entirely out of the question. Justin Fields, Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields has been through a lot in his young career, enduring the trials and tribulations of playing quarterback for the Chicago Bears. But now he finds himself in Pittsburgh and is expected to back up Russell Wilson to start the season, which could prove to be a great opportunity for Fields. The Steelers were rolling the dice on Wilson in a big way. Yes, he was a Super Bowl champion, but he has looked like a shell of himself in recent years. And Fields offers a different dimension with his mobility and playmaking ability. Not to mention that his teammates actually seem to like him, unlike the aforementioned Wilson, who has just made enemies all over the league. If Wilson struggles, the Steelers might turn to Fields to jumpstart their offense. There's no doubt that the dual-threat QB has the talent to be a starter in the league, and a fresh start in Pittsburgh might be exactly what he needs. This one could end up being a big win-win for him in Pittsburgh, and another embarrassment for the Chicago Bears. Drew Lock, New York Giants. Drew Lock is one of those quarterbacks who's always had the confidence and physical tools to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, but has just struggled with consistency. Now at the New York Giants, Lock is backing up Daniel Jones, who has had his own issues with staying consistent. If Jones falters or goes down with another injury, Lock could get another shot to prove that he can be a starter in this league. After all, the Giants can cut Jones after the season with a very limited impact to the cap. If things don't go according to plan with Danny Dimes, which, hey, let's face it, is a very real possibility, Lock just might find himself leading the G-Men's offense at some point this season. But hey, which of the top NFL backup quarterbacks do you think has a chance to start NFL games this year? Who do you think we were right on? Who do you think we were wrong about? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. But hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, well, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.